Big D Entertainment, in association with Dipsy Doodle Productions, presents The Dave Holly Hour. Brought to you by Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th, The Sky in Tea, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Ale Hop Brewery Tours, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and Sonny's Pizzeria. The Dave Holly Hour features Sioux Empire arts and entertainment conversations. A true lover of arts, entertainment, good food, and fun times, including an occasional Jack Daniels. Okay, so a few Jack Daniels. Here he is, Dave Holly.
Great arts and entertainment conversations coming up in just a few minutes. Today on episode number 143, we talk with Late Night Boomin host Jack Unruh and the TV show's producer Mitchell Olson. Later in the show, we talk about a special event this fall for the White Spruce Chamber Players as we visit with Brett and Laura Cooper. Plus, we'll give away the coveted weekly honorable mention, as well as draw for this week's winner of Pizza with a Podcaster. What do you say we get this show started right? Time to grab your favorite beverage, lift it high, and toast it to being Thursday, a.k.a. Weekend Eve.
Hey, the weekend isn't around the corner, it's here!
So long, hump day and your frumpy way. We say hello to Thursdays with opening nights. The weekend is near and we can see the bright lights. Yes, Thursday, you're so hearty, we can't wait for Friday, so a day early, we start the party. All right, lift them high, everybody. Depending upon the time of day or where you might be, it's probably safe to always have milk. But if it's a place where you can have something else, feel free. You know me. As I put this together every Wednesday night, Jasper Newton, a Jack Daniels Diet Coke with a lime. And toast to proper driving. Yeah, it does happen. Carrie and I were driving to XL Chiropractic, her place of work, also a show sponsor. Thank you very much. And as we're getting there, we're taking Western over to 49th, up to Oxbow, over, etc. We're behind a motorcycle. And, of course, you get skittish around motorcycles. We've had some fatalities of late and so forth. And so we are always trying to drive as properly as possible. Change lanes with blinkers and so forth. Well, there's this motorcyclist in front of us going the speed limit, making the proper lane changes, and, yes, using turn signals. Whoever you were, sir, congratulations on knowing how to drive properly. The Weekend Eve Toast has been brought to you by Ale Hop Brewery Tours. Let Jason get you there so you can indulge without the responsibility. Talk about something that will get you there properly driving. On Facebook, James went on to compliment Ale Hop on their knowledge of the local craft beer scene. No matter what brewery in Sioux Falls is your favorite, Ale Hop Brewery Tours gets you and your friends there in a really cool van. They also make a stop at one of the distilleries, although I think it's just one distillery we have. All you have to do is enjoy the beer or the spirits. Book your private tours at alehopbrewerytours.com. Already out and about on the weekend, then hop on a public tour. For more info, call 605-777-2183, 605-777-2183. Ale Hop Brewery Tours, where micro fans meet micro brews. All right, it is time to pick a lucky winner of Pizza with a Podcaster. Everyone that follows the Dave Holly Hour on Facebook is automatically entered, as are those that follow us on Instagram. We draw one name each week, and this week, congratulations, Erica Johnson. Erica Johnson wins a pizza from Sonny's Pizzeria. Congratulations. We'll be in touch. Get you all set up for some jowl-dropping, show-stopping, thin-crust pizza. Pizza with a Podcaster. Brought to you by Sonny's Pizzeria, right across from USF at 26th and Waltz, and Sonny's at 81 on South Phillips. Check out the very fun and incredibly flavorful and flavorable menu online Sunny'sPizzeria.com. Honorable mention. What is on the horizon for Dave to be tickled by this weekend? Downtown Sioux Falls will host its 9th annual Downtown Riverfest from 4:30 until 11. This year it will be in Faywick Park, a little different location than past years due to construction. Now, friends of the Dave Holly Hour, Matt D. and the Roadside Revival hit the stage at 6:30. So get there for that, if nothing else. Lots of fun stuff to take in. I know that there's also on Saturday from 1 until 5, over at Sunny's Pizzeria, by the way, there will be a pop-up art show. And I'm going to be over there after I get off my regular job at 4 o'clock. I'll make my way over there because there's a few pieces I have in mind. Okay. Hey, later in the show, this fall, the White Spruce Chamber Players will present the world premiere of a piece written specifically for them. Brett and Laura Cooper, they'll tell us all about it. Late Night Boomin' hits the TV airways this fall. They'll be recording an episode or two at the Washington Pavilion Belbus Theater tonight. Host Jack Unruh and producer Mitchell Olson join us next on the Dave Holly Hour.
Helping women feel empowered and confident is what Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th does, while supplying high-quality clothing that fits your lifestyle, personality, and price point. Whether you want comfy and cozy, casual attire, or something for a special occasion, Posh provides quality, selection, and value. They carry sizes extra small to 3X and have something appropriate for any age. Feel empowered and get confident. Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th.
Dr. Perry Langston and Dr. Corey Tooney know excellence is in you. That's why they provide you with excellent care at XO Chiropractic, improving your overall health in spirit, body, mind, and will. Get results the natural way. Arrange a consultation, 605-332-9235 or exokairos.com. Excellent care for excellent people. XO Chiropractic, located at 4309 South Racket Drive in Sioux Falls.
For him, every day is a Holly day. Here again, Dave Holly.
Welcome back, everybody. It is such a pleasure. You knew I was going to say it, didn't you? Okay, as I say it all the time, it is such a pleasure to talk Sioux Land, Sioux Empire, arts and entertainment. It's great to have repeat guests. It's great to have new guests. You get your double pay today because we have one of each. From Late Night Boomin', his second appearance on the show, the host, Jack Unruh. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
If I were any better, I'd be twins.
Twins?
Yeah, back when I weighed over 400 pounds, most people thought I was. And he brings with him the newly appointed producer of Late Night Boomin', the one, the only, the legendary Mitchell Olson.
Thank you. Good morning, Dave.
Great to see you.
Good to see you.
And you know what's great about this is I always talk about, records and so forth. Went over the 10,000 download mark a couple of weeks ago.
Oh,
yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's legendary.
And this is episode number 143. Wow. So you just keep going, and over 300 guests. But you, Mitchell Olson, just by your presence, automatically set a new record.
Oh.
The tallest
guest.
I
believe that. I believe that because I rarely see people taller than me. And it's happened at an airport before.
Oh, wow.
And you kind of, I'll look at them and we just kind of look at each other.
Are you in the NBA?
Yeah, they obviously we're like some kind of a basketball player. But you kind of look at each other and there's this understanding of don't ask, just kind of we know you're tall, just keep moving kind of a thing. There's like a wink, a head nod.
Do you wave to each other just because you're tall?
Right, yeah. We're in some secret club
hidden
together.
Language, yeah.
But yeah, that's a good point. I don't think there are too many people taller than me.
Right. And do those tall secrets go over everybody else's head?
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
How tall are you? Are you 7?
7 feet, yes.
7 feet, okay.
Yep, 7 feet. I think I am probably shrinking with age. I mean, that happens. But I know that I was 7 feet at one point, and so I just kind of continued to say 7 feet.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Jack. Wow, big things are happening for Late Night Boomin'.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
So first of all, let's talk that this podcast comes out on Thursdays, which means today is another live taping.
It's show day.
It's show day.
That's amazing.
At the Washington Pavilion, the Belbus Theater.
Yes.
And it is such a great time when everybody goes there, and you guys fill it up. And that's a great thing. Yeah,
it's getting there, isn't it? It's getting almost to the point where we need a bigger theater. So that would be exciting, wouldn't it?
We'll be doing this in the Premier Center before you.
Yes, exactly.
Absurdly large audience.
Exactly.
Yeah, who's going to open? Kenny Chesney? Or?
Yeah,
exactly.
Kenny Chesney to open for Late Night Boomin'.
Yeah. We got
Suppose
Paul
we can get him on the
McCartney,
show then? All right, so let's talk about the big things happening. And then we'll get into this week's show, and then we'll talk about how Mitchell came along and decided to join the troupe. And then there's one question that's really eating at me, because I know that you've got this old curmudgeon Potter.
Yes, we got to talk
show
about
producer.
He's one of our favorites.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to find out. Is there gonna be heads button?
Oh yeah, so we got to dig into some Potter today.
Yes,
we got
for sure.
But anyway, the big news, of course, is the fact that not just YouTube anymore. Starting September 10th, truly Late Night Boomin'.
Yes.
Now let's see if I've got this right now, because it's going to be after SNL.
Yep.
On KDLT.
Yes.
But then it's also going to end up on Fox, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
At 9:30.
At 9:30.
Yes.
Same night.
Okay.
Yep.
So
I guess technically Fox
my God,
first.
I can watch it.
Yeah. That's what my aunt was like. This is just way too late for me. And then
Right.
she's like, "You guys should make it like early morning Boomin'." Like, I don't know. It's strictly because of the name.
Right.
Right.
And the other thing is, there aren't many places open anymore after like 10 or 11 o'clock at night in this town.
I know.
Gosh, that's true, isn't it?
You used to be able to go to like McDonald's
Right.
at like midnight. It was the best thing ever.
Well, even gas stations are closed now at like 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, what? I thought
funny
you were
you mentioned
24 hours.
Yeah.
We had been to the Mighty Red Rock over at Rowena on Saturday night for Crazy Frank karaoke. And we're driving back, and we knew we were going to need gas before going to see my elderly mother in Rock Rapids on Sunday morning. And we thought we were going to have enough. And it's like, right as we're getting to that Casey's out there on 26th.
Yeah.
Oh, better get gas. So my wife pulls in, puts the credit card in, and pulls the pump out, and the lights go out.
What? Like
No
they
way.
turned it
They
off?
turned off the canopy lights over top the gas station part, and they're starting to flick off all. But the guy looks out and just waves, like, "Go
Oh,
ahead."
my
So
gosh,
we
yeah.
were able to get gas to get home then.
Terry, good luck finding the pump.
Yeah, exactly. That is annoying. But I suppose since most gases are, credit card, you stick a card in,
Right.
they feel like they can at least close down the chips and the sodas and that part of it
Yeah,
early.
yeah, but that's
which
the
is-
best part.
That's the part that I want.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Okay, before we start talking about a show again, go to snack at a convenience store, Jack.
Oh my goodness. Well, see, I'm always wanting to try the new gimmicks. Like if somebody comes out with a gimmick, I'm falling for it. I'm all in. Like Oreo snack cakes, I'm buying them,
Really?
Or like they come out with like new Reese's, new form of Reese's, I'm buying it just because it's new.
Yeah, well,
you know?
it and it's Reese's.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's literally they can't screw up.
Yeah.
They can't. How about you? What's your go-to?
Oh, I tell you what, this is a shame because it's actually, if I can find the Ruffles that are the cheddar and sour cream.
Oh.
And then, if on the grill they have a cheddar wurst,
Oh, yeah, those are good.
that's going in the gullet.
Yep, those
Gas
are good.
station hot dogs and brats are like
They're
hands on
good.
they're
Yeah.
so good.
Yep.
Sometimes
I agree.
they're
They've
better
got
than,
that
like,
roller
homemade.
science down,
They got it
Yeah.
down to a science.
Mitchell?
Yes. My go-to?
Yes.
I guess I do like something like a gummy bear or licorice, something that's not messy.
Okay.
Like a gummy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then for like soda, right now I'm all about a flavored Mountain Dew. Like they have all kinds of different flavors. In fact,
true.
There's like a website dedicated to where the gas stations are that have the different flavors. But
Yeah.
but I go with the watermelon flavor if I can find it. And so those are my go-tos.
Yeah.
Now, will that change once we hit October and it'll be pumpkin spice?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Like, are they going to like stop all these different flavors flavors and which ones are they going to keep. And I'm worried about that because I'm enjoying a couple of them.
It's like too good to be true right now. You know what I mean? There's too many good flavors out there.
Right. And I feel like they're going to pull a few of them out,
They
though.
probably will. Yeah.
All right, so this is a show about arts and entertainment. But even when we go off the rails, it's entertaining.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Right, that's right.
All right, so how did this all happen? And is this making dreams come true for you that, it'll be hitting the TV?
Oh, my goodness. Well, here's the thing is it's just been like such a crazy journey because I think the last time we spoke on the podcast we had only done like 2 episodes. Right. Yeah. And so since then it's been really cool to kind of see how some things have come together and the people that have been involved, and we've been talking with Dakota News now, and it's really cool because it seems that they really are kind of excited about this, and so they're like giving us a really cool opportunity and being able to air it on TV. And so we've been just kind of working with them and saying like, can we do this? And now it's to the point where it's about to premiere on TV, and so it's just getting so exciting. Yeah.
And so somebody's going to be in the editing booth for a while, are they?
Yes.
I think they've already kind of started working on that, right?
Yeah. Many hours in the basement. Many hours.
Yes. Because that is kind of a cool part. They're trying to get it down to like 29 minutes about.
Yeah.
And so because we're going to include the commercials into the show, which is kind of a cool thing that we're doing.
Right.
And make them part of the show. And
no breaks.
Right. So no breaks. Yeah. So it does make it a bit more interesting to try to get all of that material into those 28 or 9 minutes.
Right. It's an interesting challenge.
That's for sure. Yeah, and I'm glad that I don't edit video. Audio, not a problem. That video thing, trying to get everything to fit. And the Dave Holly Hour is rarely an hour. It's usually about an hour and 16. Because it's a podcast and I don't have to worry about those time constraints.
True.
But you really don't have to worry about the time constraints when you're filming and getting everything taped for this. So then it gets, as Mitchell said, down to the 29 minutes.
Yeah,
and so
that's
forth.
hard because we just let it go because sometimes like spontaneous things will happen.
True.
And then you just let it fly.
And I guess that's the cool part about this sort of a live show is that we can do that and we can add things that may not even make it to TV.
True.
But that also makes it a bit tougher for editing.
To edit because it's like you don't want to cut the really good stuff.
Right. And then sometimes we'll add some extra things in there and they'll be so great we don't want to cut those either.
Right.
So then it becomes difficult to decide where to put those. But I remember even when I was on shows like Letterman or Rosie O'Donnell, they would time those shows perfectly so that there wasn't any editing and there would be a clock ticking down to when the commercial break was coming and the host knew it and so did the guest, and when you got closer to it they would kind of start to wrap up that conversation and then they go to a commercial and it was like only a 3-minute commercial break or whatever they give you for commercials and boom, you're back live. And so there was literally no editing and it does get there, I'm assuming, and so that'll be kind of fun to see how this works and if we get to a point where it's just where we know exactly how many minutes each segment's going to take us.
Yeah.
But right now we just don't. And some of these games, we don't know how long they're going to last. And you may have noticed too, like sometimes we'll do like a game and it just keeps going and going. But we need to somehow make those shorter. So we're trying new things like testing those games out first.
Let's pitch a pumpkin at a radar gun.
Let's just sling
what
things
happens.
across the theater and hold But I'm sure even with the podcast, like isn't it the best like when you just get into like a really good roll of conversation?
Exactly.
Just let it go,
just like this one's going. We're having fun.
I'm planning to be here till 4.
Okay.
And it's 11
Not a problem.
right now.
Well, actually, I need to be gone by about 3 because I have a 4 o'clock I'm recording somewhere else. So.
Oh, no.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll
give us
continue
a
on the
little
phone
time.
as you drive.
Yeah. Text, message.
Yeah.
Go ahead and TikTok or Snapchat. I'm not real good with those yet.
I'm not really either, so don't worry.
Mitchell, what made you say, hey, I got to be a part of this?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, we have a little bit of a strange history, Jack and I, of I guess I met you a couple of years ago, and before you even started this one at the Washington Pavilion, you were doing something at the, was it the height?
It was at USF.
USF, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was kind of helping a little bit with that, or we had met a couple of times, and I even brought in Sean Cable to be the first guest at that particular one. And I kind of look at those shows a little bit like a test run in a way.
Yeah.
I mean,
beta.
Yes, it was in beta. It was in the beta stage.
That's a great Great analogy.
Yeah.
So, but it was definitely a way to see that this was something and it could be bigger and better. And that's what has happened. But it was cool to be part of that very early stage of testing this and seeing how it works. And so then that's kind of how I got looped back into it once it started happening at the Washington Pavilion. And we had met and we were kind of throwing around different ideas about different things. And then Jack had asked if I would be the producer of it, and I thought that's exactly what I would love to do. Just for some reason that seems perfectly in my wheelhouse. I've done a ton of things, on camera, and I don't necessarily think that that's where I belong in the entertainment world. I think that I'm probably more of a behind the scenes, more of a writer, more of a thinker like that, but I don't mind being on camera. I just don't think that that's where I'm meant to be. So it is such a great challenge for me and such a great opportunity to play this producing part, because like I said, I do think it's in my wheelhouse and I'm super excited about that. And every single challenge that we seem to have come across, we easily navigate through, and it just seems like everything's rolling perfectly along. So I can't imagine being in a different spot when it comes to this particular show. And I do think that everybody else is really well placed as well, including yourself. I think everybody is really in a great spot in the show.
Yeah, and this is kind of like how it was really cool, how it all like recently just came to be, because Mitchell happened to be at the show that we did right before our most recent one, and he was up in the balcony. He's watching like Batman. He was up in the rafters, just kind of like
judging.
Yeah, judging.
7 foot hanging upside down.
Yeah, hanging upside. No one noticed. And, so he watched the show, and then right before the next show that we had, he's like, "Hey, you mind if I come hang out? And if you guys need any help?" And we're like, "Yeah." And so that next show, pre-show, was chaos. It was
That's right.
The day of the show was absolute madness. And like the first thing that started is the backdrop that we use, like behind the desk and everything. Take it out of the case, wrinkled to high heaven.
Yes.
Totally wrinkled. And my mom is freaking out.
Jack's mom blames Jack, by the way.
Yeah, and she's like, "Did you just wad this thing up and shove it in the bag?" And I was like, "No."
He's like, "Maybe."
And he's like, "Probably, yeah, but no." And then Mitchell comes, he's like, "I've got a steamer." And,
a great one. A new, like this new steamer
yeah.
from Costco, a huge one. And I'm like, those steamers are way better than irons.
Yes, they are.
The wrinkles will melt away.
Yeah.
So I said, let me just run and get it. So I ran home, grabbed that.
Yeah.
I'm like steaming this curtain. And then there was a part of the show that we hadn't quite worked out yet, and we needed to rehearse it.
Yeah, it was the part because we added this new character who's a mascot, and the mascot doesn't say anything, but he just makes weird noises.
His name is Oswald.
And he's supposed to like come out and like take this phone from this telethon we're doing. Bizarre. And
he has a big costume on, so he can't even really grab the phone very well with his hands.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of problems we're running into that we didn't anticipate at all.
And all this is going on at once, and we're like, how do we do this? And so Mitchell just kind of steps in and takes charge. And my mom said this is the scene. She walks in to the Belbus later that day, and she just sees Mitchell screaming. She sees him and I dead seriously screaming at this mascot, "Now crawl away as the kids beat you with these bats." And we're like desperately trying to get this show together. But like we just take a step back and like, this is what we're doing right now.
And the funny part is it's such it was such madness and chaos, but also the topic of what we're doing is so dumb.
It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, these kids are like beating him with these plastic like bats and stuff, and the whole thing was so ridiculous that it felt hilarious that we're taking it so seriously.
Yeah, we're taking it so
really
serious.
Trying to get this rehearsed. And you're right. I think that and at that point I wasn't even a producer. I was there just to kind of help the flow and see what I could do and see where I could kind of fit in to help, because I always have looked at myself as like somebody who kind of wants to fix problems. I don't want to be the problem. I just want to come in, and if I see a problem or if they see a problem, I want to see. I love trying to fix it, especially when it comes to television or production or things like that. So that's kind of how I've always seen my position, and that particular night it really shone, because we were thrown so many problems and we had to navigate and fix them so quickly, and we did. And shortly after that was when they asked if I would be the producer.
That's right. And so we've learned like a lot from, and it's been a while since we've had a live show.
Yep.
And so we've learned a lot from then until now, and today's show day. We're excited to see how it's gonna go.
In fact, this is, I think, is this my first show as a producer?
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, this will be my first show as a producer, but it doesn't even seem that way because we have been filming and meeting and doing so much since that last show. And I mean, we're talking hours and hours of meeting and planning and writing and rewriting. And these meetings happen all over town. They happen in churches. They happen in cafes. They happen at my house. And
wherever we can get together.
Exactly.
Under the bridge at 41st Street. That's where I live.
Down by the river.
Down by the river.
Exactly. So we are meeting as much as we can to get this show to the point where it is absolutely ready. And we just want to all feel so comfortable about it because we're all so proud of it anyway. And all the shows that we do, but this one in particular, we're really excited for.
All right, so let's talk about this one. Guests tonight?
Yes, we got some big ones tonight.
We do.
We've got Miss South Dakota.
Yes.
Oh.
Yep, Hunter Whidbey.
Hunter Whidbey's going to be on. She's going to even do her talent. So we
wow.
get to see that. Yes. So she'll be there. And then it turned into kind of a Miss America style show because we also have landed the CEO and president and chairwoman of the Miss America organization, Chantel Krebs. She is also our former Secretary of State here in South Dakota and a good friend of mine. And a former Miss South Dakota, and a good friend of mine, and I've worked with her in the Miss South Dakota pageant process. Sean Cable and I have emceed the pageant for 15 years together as a duo. And so we became so ingratiated in that system and with the contestants, and Chantel's always been a really close friend of ours. So we've seen her through, being Secretary of State and then going on to be named the CEO of Miss America is a huge thing. And the fact that she's in that position is pretty cool. So
no doubt.
And also the fact that she's willing to come on and do this show is really amazing. Yeah. And it fits perfectly that Hunter is there to showcase the South Dakota side of the pageant, and that Chantel is there to really give us the national level of Miss America and what it means.
And then, of course, Mr. Potter.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I mean, have we talked to Mr. Potter fully about this?
We were getting to that because just a few shows ago, Mr. Potter came on as your producer.
Yes.
And he seems kind of headstrong.
He is.
A little cantankerous.
Yes.
He has, there's probably many superlatives that we could say about him that are not good. But he seems to get the job done. So, now that Mitchell has been named producer of the show, what's going to happen when these two get together?
Yeah, our head's going to roll. I mean,
it's all going to hit the fan. Let's just say Jerry Springer has never seen anything like it.
Exactly.
Oh, I can't wait to see that tonight.
Yeah. Oh, that'll be fun.
Yes, it's only audio, so you didn't see the eye roll.
That's great. I mean, that is such a funny thing, though. I mean, does your audience know that you are Mr. Potter, by the way?
Some do.
Was that a secret?
Yeah. No, it's when I play a particular character, I allude to it often.
Oh, I see. Okay, cool.
But, don't come right out and say, by the way, I'm Mr. Potter.
Yeah, right.
Oh, wait a minute. I should say on my website, I did change that under the, character actor and so forth. Now a regularly scheduled part of Late Night Boomin as Mr. Potter.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Good. You deserve that credit. And honestly, it is one of my favorite parts of the show. I have been watching it from the beginning, but this edition of Mr. Potter is so funny because we really can do all sorts of off-the-wall things with
no
it.
Doubt.
Because as the acting producer, which Mr. Potter is, he and old and cantankerous, like that kind of guy in a wheelchair, by the way, too. We can put in so many funny things. He can suggest crazy off the wall ideas because he's Mr. Potter, and it can be so hysterical. So it gives us so many areas and avenues to go when it comes to writing that we are so excited to have Mr. Potter as part of the show.
Well, he invented video.
He invented video himself.
Well, there's even a really hilarious line that I keep laughing at, the president line about Coolidge or something.
Yes.
He brings up Coolidge, but I just love that. Yeah, his mentality is the older mentality, and he's always mentioning presidents that we
No
know.
one knows when he was born. It's
Yes, and that's the other thing. Yeah, we never know when he's born.
Yeah.
But there's so many funny things to play with. But you are correct. I didn't even really think this through in my head until recently. But with the addition of me being like the actual producer of the show, this does create a hilarious level of like back and forth.
Very much looking forward to it.
Yes,
And
yes.
that was without an eye roll.
No, literally, Mr. Potter, like the character of Mr. It's my favorite thing to write for. Like, it's just so fun.
Yeah, because there is that random factor. You can be completely random. You can use any date in history.
Yeah.
And all those things, even when you do use random dates, it even makes it funnier too. So,
Yeah.
so there's just so much that you can do with that character.
like last show or 2 shows ago, when we were mid monologue, we get Mr. Potter calls from us from backstage. He goes, "Boys, come over here," and we go off backstage, and Mr. Potter is like, "I had some ideas for your show." We're like, "Mr. Potter, the show's happening right now," and he takes us in his car all the way back to his office, and we talk to him, and he shows us the first video ever made. And then he brings us back to the stage. It was so fun.
yes.
He has to have a driver, though, since he's in the wheelchair.
Yes,
I know.
yes.
That makes it even better.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything about it. Like the visual is
I
just
should say
hysterical.
limo at some point.
Yes, a limo. He rides on a limo everywhere.
Gosh, that's the beauty of that. You know, we could easily find something like that, and it could be hilarious to add those little things. So everything about Potter to me is comedy gold.
Yes.
So I'm pro Potter, and I'm pro that. I'm pro our new mascot too, Oswald. He's quite hilarious. In the fact that he doesn't talk is what makes him also quite hilarious. But he's clumsy, and all these things happen, and he's dressed as a big star, like how the logo has a big kind of yellow star
on the nose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Everything is just So those two characters are two of my favorite for sure additions by a long shot.
All right. Then there's that co-host that you have.
Yes.
That Zach Dresch kid.
ZD.
Yeah, he I think people know who he is, maybe from all the stuff he does.
Yeah,
he does do a lot of stuff.
he only does
the resume that continues to grow every week.
Yes,
you're right. It's true. Yeah, he does a lot.
Yeah, we were just filming with him last night, 3 nights ago.
It was a funny thing too. I mean,
I'm going to make a new sign to hold up for all my guests. This is Thursday.
Yeah,
remember, today is Thursday.
Today is Thursday.
So coming up for your show tonight.
Yes.
That's true. And even when I said this morning, when does this show air? I shouldn't have probably even said this morning.
Well, you're okay with that because it drops at 12:01 a.m. Central Time.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
Well, then that does
So we were
make
just like
sense.
having a cup of coffee at Perkins. Oh, wait a minute. They're probably closed by that time, too, aren't they?
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, even 24-hour restaurants I'm seeing are closed. I'm
Frying
like,
pan is the
this...
last one.
Is
Are
it
they
really?
still?
Last one. Yeah.
Well, that's good to know, though, because even as a college student, I went to SDSU, but that was, they had a frying pan. We went there all the time to study, and it was open 24 hours. Everybody knew that. That's an important thing for a college student, for sure.
I know.
In a town like this big, you would think there would be tons of places open 24 hours.
Yeah.
You would think.
Well, and think of it, all the things you go to at the Washington Pavilion.
Yeah.
You got to eat beforehand.
I know.
Because nobody's going to be open after 10 o'clock when you get out of a show.
Such a good point.
Bosses, they stay open. They stay open.
I love Bosses.
Yeah.
I do too. Yeah. Philly cheesesteak pizza.
Is that your go-to?
We just got that recently, and my husband and I were like, "How have we never done this before?" Because we love Philly cheesesteaks, we love pizza, we love Bosses. So we got it, and we were like, "This is our go-to now forever."
Exactly.
So good.
It's a dandy, no doubt about that.
Yes, and the Star City one is like it has like pepperoni and cream cheese. It's so good.
Ooh,
they got some good ones. Telling
Cream
you.
cheese, no doubt about
Cream cheese.
it. Only one thing better than cream cheese. Well, two.
What's that?
Peanut butter and caramel.
Ooh.
Do you mean together or separately?
Separate, together,
What about
mixed
peanut?
at different ratios. They're both gifts from God.
Which one? What did you say?
Peanut butter caramel brownies.
I did make those ones.
Yes.
And you know those caramels, that come in a clear wrapper. The recipe called that you unwrap those and you put them in the brownie mix, and then you pour the other brownie mix over on top, and then you bake that, and it comes out gooey in the middle. Can you believe that?
And they're going to be in the green room tonight.
Yeah.
I probably should. I'm actually quite. I bake and I cook all the time, so I probably should make some stuff and bring it.
Yes.
All right.
Good
Looking
point.
forward to it. So, Jack, you've answered these questions before. So when you're not part of the entertainment scene, what do you like to be entertained by?
Oh, what do I like to be entertained? Honestly, I love video games.
Really?
If I have free time and I'm not doing anything, I'm sitting down and I'm playing video games.
What about board games? It doesn't translate.
Love board games.
But you have to have a partner with board games. With video games, you like the solitude of it?
Sometimes
Okay.
I can, if my buddies are on, then I'll play video games with them, or I'll just play by myself and just put on music and play and relax.
Okay.
Or if I have buddies at home or something, I love playing board games. The top 2 board games of all time. Number 1 is chess. Number 2, Monopoly.
I can agree with the Monopoly, but chess, nobody is agreeing with you on chess. First
No,
of all, it
no.
feels like homework.
You're doing too much work here.
Yeah, I mean, it's way too you got to think way too much on that one.
When I'm playing a board game, I'm usually having a Jack Daniels Diet Coke with a lime.
You don't want to think.
I don't want to think.
Yes. In fact, I noticed recently.
I don't even mind losing at those games.
We're playing tic-tac-toe. Screw it.
Yes. In fact, I recently realized that like Candyland, you can't get more of you don't have to put any brain power into Candyland. You turn a card over and you go to that color.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know, I'm really good at Candyland.
There's no skill level.
There's an intro for somebody. And a self-proclaimed expert of Candyland.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because do you know that there are contests around the world for rock, paper, scissors? Now, I thought that rock, paper, scissors was very much a random game that there's no way you could win or cheat or be good at. There are contests, and there are people who often win. I don't know how, but like they win the championship and they get all sorts of money for it.
I think they're mind readers.
They have to be.
don't
They
they?
have to be.
Yeah.
There's no other way.
But speaking of Monopoly, there are also Monopoly contests, and they give away
no
tons
doubt.
of money for that too. And that is an annual thing that happens.
Really?
And I think the final happens like in Vegas. I watched a documentary about it, but it's all about Monopoly, and these people are experts at it. And the only thing is, they don't play by any of the rules that Americans have added to the game over the years. I did a huge deep dive on this once, but you know how we put like $500 in the middle, and if you pass go, you can collect it. Like there's all sorts of different things we add, or if you go to whatever it is. But we, if you take out all of those actual added things, the game goes really quickly. They say it's only supposed to last about an hour or two, but we add all these things to give people second chances, and pretty soon the game lasts a whole day. But in this this challenge where they play this game for a competition, they don't add those extras.
Okay, so it's back to the basics on that then. Yeah. All right. Okay, so Mitchell Olson, when you're not part of the entertainment scene, what do you like to be entertained by?
Well, when I'm not looking up Monopoly facts.
No deep dives?
Right. No, I do love that term. Even like I do like a deep dive on Wikipedia all the time on certain things, like honeybees and or on the Queen of England. Like I will go into these deep dives and just kind of find out all these interesting fun facts. And I don't know why, but it just entertains me for hours. I do like that. But I'm a huge TV guy. So when it comes to television, like there couldn't be a bigger proponent of it. So with Netflix, with I just realized the other day, I think I have every streaming service available, which is sad, but we used to have cable, and that was super expensive, and so we cut out cable and started adding streaming services one at a time. And at first we were like, we're saving all kinds of money. Well, now we're back to what we were paying for cable, pretty much.
We're still under that, at least.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah, but the other thing is, we also have the income that we can afford it now too.
Yes, that helps.
back when it was like, oh God, I had to work at Come and Go for a while. Yeah, that was kind of tough.
Yeah, I know, right? So I watch TV constantly. It's just something that I love, and so I would say that that's probably my biggest habit or thing that I do outside of anything else.
And what's the go-to right now on that?
Gosh, it varies so much.
Yeah.
Like I just saw the documentary called, I think, 99 about Woodstock 99 and completely forgot what a disaster that was, by the way. Completely forgot about that. Yeah. But it was such an interesting watch because I remember seeing those MTV breaks and I remember seeing those people throwing bottles and burning the stage and stuff. But I completely had blocked it out for some reason. But that's a really interesting documentary. So I'll go to a documentary or a TV show and you know, Stranger Things is happening or kind of wrapping up for a lot of people right now. But I watched Severance, which was really great. I didn't think it would be really good, but I saw it was up for like 14 awards and I thought, well, I should at least see what it's about. And that's another point. I try to follow the trends. So you know how when you go to Netflix and it says, what are people watching now? I am glued to that list.
Squid Game.
I did watch Squid Game. I loved it. Yeah, I don't think you could find a single show that wasn't one of those trendy or kind of shows that people talked about where I didn't watch it. Like, I remember being the first guy to watch Tiger King because it was one of those shows that came out at like midnight or something, right? And I couldn't sleep, and I just hit play on this. And it was the next morning I was on 104.7, and with Andy and Tasha, and they were asking me something, and I told them about how I want to get home to finish watching this Tiger King show that I was watching, and they were like, "What is this about?" And I kept telling them how great it was, and within a day or so, the whole world was talking about the Tiger King. And then I became like pen pals with him in prison, which is hilarious.
Really?
Yes. And now we still communicate.
The actual Tiger King?
Yes.
Really?
Often. We talked on the phone. In fact, I was going to even like film like on my Facebook Live, do like a talk on the phone.
That's already better than what I was going to come up with. I was just going to say, oh, sure, you got that new hair and you want to go to a mullet, huh?
Exactly. Good point. No, yeah. I mean, he's kooky because, well, by the way, right now he has stage 4 cancer, and so he's going through a lot.
Yeah.
But he's kind of a kooky guy, and he thought all this time he was, you know, he should have been free, and he thought that the president was going to let him out and exonerate him and all this stuff. So he feels really burned by the fact that he's in jail.
Still in jail.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's most of what the conversations are about. How can I get out of here is the biggest question.
Yeah. How can I get out? I'm breaking out of here.
No wall can stop the Tiger King. Right. Right. Late Night Boomin', a show tonight, 7 o'clock.
Yes.
Doors open at 6:30?
Actually, I think at 7, right?
Yep.
So we're doing that now. We're like,
okay.
so people can show up. There's no tickets needed or anything. It's free. So people can show up. And it's, by the way, it's the Belbis side. So if you park on the other side, you're probably better off.
Side.
Yeah. And then, so the west side, and so the Belbis side, there's a big lobby in there. But you can get there before 7, of course. We open the doors at 7, and then you can get a good seat. There's balcony seats, which is kind of a different door, but those are great seats too. Every seat there is good. I've sat in them all, but there's a great bird eye view from up above, and so anywhere is good. But yeah, 7 o'clock is when the doors open.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. And I'm sure Mr. Potter is looking forward to it as well.
He better be.
Mr. Potter.
All right.
Yes.
Mitchell Olson and Jack Unruh from Late Night Boomin'. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll be back with more of the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Comedy magician and hypnotist Jesse Moffat's right. He can't play the piano, but he can sure entertain crowds with his amazing magic and clever quips. His shows always make the participants the stars, especially when they've fallen asleep on stage. They've been hypnotized. Are you the party planner in your group? Then you owe it to your group to make the event magical, even if it puts you to sleep. Here's how.
For booking information, go to Jesse Moffitt Entertainment on Facebook. That's JESSEMOFFITT. Or call 605-929-0964.
Ladies, when it's time to give your nails some love, get that extra special treatment from Quality Nails on South Minnesota Avenue in Sioux Falls. Manicures and pedicures that look great and make you feel fantastic. Zaya and Tony provide professional care for your hands and feet, whether you just want the basics or an extra special look with added flair. Oh, and guys, it's okay to treat yourself too. Quality Nails. Call for an appointment. 605-334-1463.
He's a bit flirtatious, but most of all, fun. Once again, here's Dave Hawley.
Welcome back, everybody. Always a pleasure to have you along, but it's always a pleasure to have new guests along, and we do have that today. In fact, we're going to be talking about a group we've never talked about before. Looking forward to this. They've got a big event coming up in October. They are Brett and Laura Cooper from White Spruce Chamber Players.
You got it.
Did I do it?
You got it.
Yes. All right. Hey, great to have you on the show for the first time.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yes, it's a pleasure, and I just happen to have the feeling that after we're finished today, I'll probably be going, yeah, they should be back sometime too.
We'd love that too.
Yeah, that would be great. But let's talk about, first of all, the chamber group that you have. What does it consist of?
We are a chamber music collective. You see these often in bigger cities. New York has a very famous chamber music collective, and we. It sounds fancy, but we just pulled our friends together, and we pick music that we want to play, and we play music that our friends want to play, and we have a really fun time.
Awesome, Brett. What made you say, yeah? Sounds like a good idea. Let's do this.
It was kind of born out of necessity. Laura was working on her master's degree at University of South Dakota, and her final graduate recital needed a chamber music piece. So most of the rest of the program had been just the two of us, her on cello, me on piano. So we needed to cobble together some extra friends for a larger piece, and we had such a good time doing that we figured, let's just keep on doing this. And
it's
kind of organically born as such. 6 years later, here we are.
All right, so Laura, you play cello. Do you
Yes.
play other strings as well?
I try not to.
Okay. You like sticking to the cello?
Yep.
That's a good thing. Any other instruments besides that, though?
No. I'm a
Wow,
one-trick pony.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what made you decide on that? And how old were you when you chose
That's
that?
a funny story, actually. So I actually teach now at Patrick Henry Middle School and John Harris Elementary, and I'm really proud to be teaching in the program I started in. I started in 4th grade at school, just like many of my students. So that's really neat for me. I landed on cello because the orchestra teacher came into my classroom and gave the spiel and said, you should sign up for orchestra. Here are your options. Went home and told my mom, I'm playing the double bass. And she said, think again. And so I ended up with the next biggest instrument, the cello. And
there you go.
Mother knows
a little
best.
more easy to handle. And
Yes.
I've talked to Andrew Reinhardt's before on this show about the big bass and so forth. And one of the things that he's happy about is, the technology that's come along, not in making basses, but in making what you travel with them. Yeah, it's just a lot easier. So piano, you don't travel with that. You got to find one, don't you, Brett?
Every time.
Yeah, every time.
It's an adventure.
Okay. And when did the piano playing start for you?
That was right before I turned 8, and the inspiration for that was my aunt at her house. She actually had a player piano, and we kind of grew up during the Disney Renaissance, and my aunt was still buying rolls for Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin and Lion King. They were still making piano rolls,
Right.
and so my cousins would play that piano in her... I'm making air quotes, play the piano in her basement, and so I just saw those keys flying a mile a minute and just thought, well, that's something I have to give a shot.
Yeah. And did it come naturally to you, or was it painstaking at times?
I think I've, fish to water. I've always kind of been a fan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that makes it easier, doesn't
Yeah.
it? When it comes to music, you do like to go with what you enjoy yourself and so forth. So when you guys started, you said it was just two of you, then you grabbed a few other friends and pulled them in. What do they think of the whole works now?
Well, they keep coming back, and we can't pay them, so it must be okay.
We feed them.
We do feed them.
McDonald's, or you go someplace, or you just feed them at your home?
It's kind of the world's best potluck every Thursday.
Oh.
Yeah.
Every Thursday, I got to learn how to play fiddle or something.
Come on and join us anytime.
All right, I will do that. I'll take you up on it if I can. But you've got a big event coming up. Is it October 2nd? It's a Sunday at 4, correct?
Correct. It's kind of a weekend set. We'll be in Mitchell on October 1st at
Okay.
4, and then we'll be here in Sioux Falls on October 2nd at 4. Correct.
All right. And where will it be here?
Yes,
in Sioux
at
Falls?
Westminster Presbyterian Church on 26th and Bonson.
Okay, yep, know the facility. And so now let's talk about why it's big stuff. I mean, it's a big opportunity for you because this is a world premiere of a piece, isn't it?
Sure is.
Yeah, tell us about that.
I'll try not to eat up the whole duration of the time you get to speak to you. It takes the backstory takes a minute. Yeah. There we go.
Okay.
There we go. Fill them up. When we had first started, this was about 6 years ago. Our violist, she is the director of orchestra, and she's also a keyboard professor at Dakota Wesleyan in Mitchell. And we did one of our first programs there. She had a colleague. His name was Nigel McBain. And he was an Australian native who had made his way over to Mitchell, and he was one of the church music directors for the Catholic churches in town, and was sort of some kind of colleague of hers at Dakota Wesleyan. They sort of knew each other only as sort of mild acquaintances, and he happened to be around the afternoon we were practicing right before our Mitchell program, and unbeknownst to us, the guy's a composer, and he just got really inspired by what we were playing, and we played the Schubert Trout Quintet, which is kind of a famous piece in the chamber canon, and it's got a weird configuration. You almost never hear violin, viola, cello, bass, and piano. And so he just, without even being prompted, felt compelled to write something for us. And by the time he had written it, he had moved back to Australia, but just kind of said, oh, hey, by the way, here's a piece I wrote for you. Go ahead and play it if you ever get the chance.
Well, that's incredible because, sometimes maybe somebody was inspired to write, but to actually having heard you just say, I'm going to write something for you. So not just a world premiere, but specifically aimed for you guys.
And we didn't even have to commission it. It was cool.
It was very cool how it came about. And we are very pleased to finally get to do it. We had this halfway worked up in 2020 and then ended up making the difficult decision to cancel that concert because of the
a few
pandemic.
Things happened.
Part of the reason was Mr. McBain was not able to come for the premiere then, and he can come to the premiere now because airline tickets are out of control from Australia. But we were hoping and rescheduling that Nigel would be able to be here with us. He will be sending a video to play along with the performance,
wonderful.
Talking about the piece. So we're really excited to have his input there. And he's been really involved in our rehearsal process as well, zoomed in to a few rehearsals and listened to some recordings and sent us some notes. So it's a really unique, cool experience to work with a composer who's still around.
What is the piece like? And has he given you insights as to what he was thinking of about you guys specifically? What he wrote?
So the piece is kind of cool. There's a famous orchestral piece called Pictures at an Exhibition that is kind of a tour of an art gallery. And this piece reminds me of that piece a lot. It is a tour of a palace. Palazzo is a palace, and he takes you through the terrace and the rose garden and the ballroom. So each movement of the piece, each section of the piece is a different room in the palace.
Wonderful. But why did he think of you guys with that? Sorry. Why did he think of the two of you and your group for that? What made him say, okay, this group, art gallery? Has he given you any
the title is a little bit of a jumping off point. So Palazzo, Palace, when he lived in Mitchell, that's, quote, the Palace City.
Right.
So I think he just kind of did a little bit of a music pun.
Sneaky this man is.
I'm sorry?
Sneaky this man is, isn't he?
Yes, very clever, yeah. So, yeah, and I'm not exactly sure. It's still a little bit of a mystery exactly what the inspiration was and, like, exactly where he decided to sort of, like, you know, if you say it's the Australian South Dakotan, like, 21st century version of Pictures at an Exhibition with a Mitchell twist, you're like, wait, what?
So will we be thinking of different colors of maize?
It's kind of like different dance genres. So it's like one movement, if he in the ballroom, it's a waltz, and when they go to the terrace, it's a little bit of a bossa nova, and when they go to the apartments, it's a tango, and when they do, it's. So I don't know if he was just kind of cutting his teeth on all the different genres he could kind of put into one package. I don't know. It's a really fun piece.
When you took a look at it the first time, you get the sheet music, and had he played it for you prior or anything?
Luckily, he had used some clever software that had produced like a MIDI recording.
Okay.
So, I mean, it sounds a little bit like a old school Mario Brothers video game soundtrack, but you could get a feel for what it was.
And what did you think of it when you heard it for the first time? And then what did you think of it when you played it for the first time?
I loved it initially. It's very easy on the ears, Brett would
Okay.
say. Sometimes new music is an acquired taste, and this is not that. It's very accessible and very enjoyable to listen to, I think. It is a tough piece to play. We've spent a lot of time working out transitions and what do you do here and how does that fit with what I do here, but it's really starting to come together. I'm really excited about it.
Oh, looking forward to it as well. Already got as soon as we had this all set to talk about it, I put it in the calendar and go, oh, hey, I can be there.
We'd love it.
Yeah, so I will be there. Yeah, looking forward to it. Let's talk about the group again in terms of where all you play besides putting on a program such as this.
Sure. For a number of years, the Pavilion was sort of our summer home. And we've been featured at the First Congregational Church Art Series, and there's a contact of ours down in Yankton. We've played there a couple of times. We had originally been set to play at the New Music Fest at University of South Dakota, but then, COVID happened. And our violist, Liz, she works at Dakota Wesleyan. Where else have we played?
We've been invited to play at the Poplars Piano Gallery. We're working on a date for that, so
that'd
that's
be
really
excellent.
exciting.
Yeah, love that place. Spent too much money there sometimes, but now, just I'm taking a stab in the dark at this. Did your group, were they the ones that played at Sean Baker's documentary release?
That was not us.
That wasn't you guys. Okay, yeah. Well, then I haven't heard you. And which means that I definitely have to get to this concert
We'd love
and
to
take
have
it in.
you.
Yeah, and be very. I just have the feeling I'm going to be walking out of there with a glow. And I do that partly because I do happen to just love arts and entertainment. But also, our chance here to get to know each other a little bit today and so forth, then it becomes more personal. And I'm sure that, everything that you guys have been through and where you've played and the different people you've played with and the fact that your jobs are related to arts and entertainment as well has to make this just a heartfelt, everything's bursting out at once, doesn't it?
It really is one of my favorite things that I do. I love to teach and I love the other groups that I play with, but how many times have I said to you after rehearsal, oh my gosh, White Spruce is my favorite thing. Oh my gosh, White Spruce makes me so happy. It really is a very special thing to play music with your friends.
Yeah. Now, do you rehearse in your home? Or do you have a spot?
If the dog's behaving, we'll rehearse at
Okay.
our home. Yeah. Westminster
Not on
Presbyterian.
key?
I'm sorry.
He's not on key?
You know what it is? The violin hits his ears just the wrong way, and he gets a little worked up. Yeah.
Well, and we can never stop or he thinks somebody needs to pet him.
That's right.
So how long have you been working on this piece particularly then?
As I mentioned before, we started working on it in 2020 and worked on it for maybe a month or two. And when the University of South Dakota canceled their New Music Festival, we had decided beforehand, every group had the incredibly difficult decision during the pandemic whether to forge ahead, whether to take a break. So we had decided...
do video?
Yep.
Yeah.
And we decided early on that premiering the piece on video didn't really do it justice the way we wanted it to. We really wanted to have a live premiere of the work. Yeah. So we had decided early on to tie our fall concert, that decision, to USD. If USD goes ahead, we'll do ours too. If USD cancels, we'll cancel too. And so when USD canceled, we said, let's hang it up and table it for another time. And then we came back to it with a new violinist, actually. Our original violinist opened a new business, the Queen City Balloon Bar, if you're looking for balloons or party supplies.
Good plug.
But she wasn't able to join us again this time. So we started again with a new violinist in May. And things have been going really well.
Excellent. All right. So, Brett, we've already talked that Laura is a teacher and is the director of the symphony, correct? At Patrick Henry?
Yes,
Yes.
I teach orchestra at Patrick Henry.
Orchestra,
Yep.
okay. Yeah, all right. And but you are at the Washington Pavilion on a daily basis. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, I am in the development office, and I have sort of a two-hat role of being the grant writer as well as the volunteer coordinator at the Pavilion.
All right. What's it take to be a grant writer?
Just follow the directions.
Is as simple as that, because I need a grant right now for handicap steering and so forth.
Sure, I'd say most granting organizations are very good about explaining exactly what they're requesting from you and do nothing more, nothing less. Just only and exactly.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What about the other half of the department that you're in?
Volunteer coordinator. I guess the kicker to that is just know that everybody is there to add value and to be grateful for their initiative to just provide service, and just be grateful for it and just lift them up and support them and set them up for success.
And we'll get to this question at the end that I always like to end with, but I'll give you a little bit of a precursor for it, is the fact that, I'd like to ask, when you're not entertaining or working in entertainment, what do you like to be entertained by? But one of the things that I find so often is that basically, if you're in arts and entertainment, you're in arts and entertainment. That's the hobby, it's the passion, and people are so passionate about it that they got to be employed in it, and then they got to have their side gigs in it, and their relaxation in it. And like I said, we'll get back, but at least I give you an opportunity now to ponder on that in a few minutes. But when it comes to the rehearsals and so forth, you already talked about when you started working on this piece. How long do you rehearse for? And where's that fine line of, okay, we've worked on this one enough, we got to move on and do something else in our repertoire?
Oh, I always tell my students that you work on it till you get it right, or till you can't stand to work on it anymore. And we've done a little of both in this piece. So I think we all, we're all teachers and professional musicians in the area. So I think we all know when we've got it and when to say, hey, let's table that and work on that again next week.
All right. So, Brett, your answer to that question then? Just ditto your wife, or?
Absolutely. She knows best, yeah.
Smart man.
Yeah.
I'm kind of the picky one in the group, actually, I think.
What's funny about, not funny, but what's unique about chamber music that I think you take for granted in most other groups is there's no conductor directing traffic. So everyone has to collectively know their own stuff, and there's only one on every part. So everybody has to know exactly what they're doing and be aware of what's going on around them at the same time. And in the case of this particular piece, the composer made a really easy sounding piece, but to put it together with 5 people all at the same time, it's a real acrobatics act. So
as you say that, I realize that, but also as you said that, it was like, never thought of it before.
Yeah.
When it comes to chamber music, that, one per part.
Yep.
Can't blame it on somebody else.
There's a lot of good eye contact and a lot of good cue sniffs. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. This is episode number 143. That's the first use of cue sniffs.
Trademark.
Yes, we've got that one. Get it out there. Register that baby right now. You may be wanting it later on. So tell us about, Brett, you had mentioned that this particular piece, you can tell that there's the different dance genres and so forth in it. How about as a group, what are the genres that you play? Do you stick primarily to basically what's just been written for chamber music, or do you go, there's some songs out there that maybe they're a few years old that wouldn't be thought of as chamber music? Do you adapt those?
We have not personally done that, but I know that there are some groups that do that. So I think of, was it like the Brooklyn Duo and
like
the
the
piano
Vitamin
guys?
String Quartet.
Yeah,
that's a really popular thing to do right now. I love the idea. My arranging skills are middle school level.
Well, you teach elementary. You do teach middle school, too.
Yeah. So we have not, but that's not something we've explored yet. There is a wealth of music written for all kinds of classical ensembles, and so
kind of that
we're
pop hybrid crossover stuff. Yeah, I think if we had just more time to devote to prepping up some kind, come to our wine bar and do sort of a pops gig or something, that's absolutely something on the table. It's just, they're all educators and they all get super busy, especially around the holidays. Yeah. And so
I'll put a bug in your ear.
Yeah, another inspiration.
One
for
that I would
time.
love to hear.
And it's actually a fairly old song now. Girl from Ipanema.
Best song.
Oh, how fun. Yeah, I like that one too.
And, of course, you can always think of the Blues Brothers when they're in the elevator going up to pay the taxes, too.
That's right.
So every time I pay taxes, I think of the girl from Ipanema as well. All right. And so, again, let's just kind of recap when the program is. And let's find out all the details on that for October 2nd.
Sure. So it's going to be October 2nd, 4 in the afternoon at Westminster Presbyterian. That's at 26th and Bonson in Sioux Falls. We'll be premiering Nigel McBain's Palazzo, as well as we're kind of doing an overarching sort of Americana program. We're going to complement that piece with a couple of really delightful string quartet numbers. George Gershwin wrote this nice little quartet called Lullaby. Found out it was actually a homework assignment that he wrote back in the day.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it was a homework. It was like a theory and counterpoint exercise. So really nice piece by Gershwin called The Lullaby, and kind of one of the all-time greats in the chamber genre, the Dvorak American or quartet, excuse me.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to that. And tickets?
Free will offering.
Free will. I'm there twice. No, I trust me. I'm a big tipper, so you're in good shape. All right, look forward to that. So here we go. All right, I'm going to go Brett first. When you're not part of the entertainment and arts scene, what do you like to be entertained by?
Don't look at me. His favorite thing, truly, as his wife, I can tell you, is playing the piano.
We ride bikes. How about that?
We ride bikes.
Yeah. So another hobby then. You've got bike riding. But what about other local entertainment and so forth? What do you like to take in?
That's tricky. There's just a wealth of stuff. I need to sort of tip my hat to all the different theater groups, if that's Monstrous or Goodnight or Premier Playhouse or other chamber groups. So the other chamber group may have been the Sioux Falls Chamber Music Collective. They're a great group. Lots of choral ensembles, transept, and so I mean, I'm just really floored by on the professional and kind of amateur in the I love to do it sense of the word. Talent that there is around town. So just whenever calendar's free and we're able to go, there's a lot of great things happening in town.
Yeah, I'm blown away by all the talent that we have. And it just keeps growing. And like you said, there's so many other things going on now. It's not just the Premier Playhouse. It's not just Old Town. Goodnight came along 7 years ago now. Monstrous has been around for a few years now. And then
my apologies to every other great group that I forgot to mention just now.
Broadcast, the ladies and so forth.
Yep.
And the different venues, people are putting on plays in barns. People are putting on plays at book co-ops.
Yep.
And anywhere that they can find a space. And it's just so fun to see that. And I think it is definitely helping our arts and entertainment community grow. I always make or talk about it a lot, that because I grew up down in Rock Rapids, and coming up here to Sioux Falls was the big thing. And I think I can remember as far back as the population sign being 68,000. And here we are over 200,000 now. And to see all this, and then I also talk about the fact that, I suppose it's been closer to 15 to 20 years now than just a decade of this explosion of everything that's going on, because we've now had a sculpture walk for 20 years. I remember interviewing Mr. Clark when I was at the Kellawam about, what's this sculpture walk all about? And then to see the types of things that pull in people to our community, it's just been fantastic. And I can't wait to see what the next, 15 to 20 years are going to bring for us as well. All right.
My
Laura,
turn.
Your turn.
As you and Brett were just talking about the arts community and everything, what really struck me as really special about Sioux Falls is how much the arts community supports each other.
Yep.
I think it's just fantastic, and I think it's something
collaboration, not competition.
Yes, and it's something you don't see everywhere, I think. So I just feel really happy to be part of such an incredibly welcoming and supportive arts community. And businesses welcoming artists into their spaces as well. So I just think Sioux Falls is a really special place to be. We try to get out and support as much as we can. Brett didn't mention the Washington Pavilion. Love going to shows at the Pavilion. The Visual Arts Gallery at the Pavilion is always has something worth seeing. And another thing that's really fun to do that we like to do when we have time is support the State Theater. What a gem.
Well, it's funny, going back to me coming up here to Sioux Falls from Rock Rapids, the first official date where I had a license to drive, I went to the State Theater. In just a moment, when the interview's over, I'll tell you that story. All right. Brett Cooper and Laura Cooper, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming in to talk about White Spruce Chamber Players.
You did it. You got it twice.
Yeah, beginning and the end. We nailed it. Fantastic. Appreciate you both coming in and taking the time to be on.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, my pleasure. And we'll be back to wrap up the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Sure, they have darts, and you've heard me talk about how ruggedly handsome the trivia host is, but all caps fun never stops at the Sky Lounge and Tea. And fun is best had with your friends enjoying live entertainment, as in live and local. Yeah, the Sky Lounge believes in giving you the best bands, solo artists, and comedians from the area. The Neo Johnsons, Elizabeth Hunstead, Skylar Volks, as well as many others. And a great staff will make sure you enjoy your fun at the Sky Lounge in Tea, South Dakota.
From the Dipsy Doodle Studios at the world headquarters of Big D Entertainment, a 40-square-foot home studio in the middle of America, it's Dave Holly.
Thanks again to those great guests, Jack Unruh and Mitchell Olson from Late Night Boomin', as well as Brett and Laura Cooper, White Spruce Chamber Players. And, of course, to the man that put the R&R Wine Bar and Kitchen, Ricardo Terabelsi, where we recorded our conversation with the Coopers. The Late Night Boomin' Chat was recorded here in the Dipsy Doodle Production Studio. Most of all, thank you for your interest in Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment. If you haven't so far, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and get all 143 episodes online at DaveHollyHour.com. As Arts South Dakota says, home is where the art is. As I say, put some art in your heart. Remember, I'm Dave Holly, and for me, every day is a holiday.
The Dave Holly Hour has been brought to you by Posh Boutique, The Sky in Tea, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Ale Hop Brewery Tours, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and Sonny's Pizzeria. If you would like to contribute to the continued success of this podcast, simply buy Dave a cup of coffee. Go to DaveHollyHour.com and look for a coffee cup icon in the lower left. Don't forget to stay up to date on the show on Twitter and Instagram. Follow the Dave Holly Hour on Facebook, and you'll be automatically entered in our Pizza with a Podcaster contest. The Dave Holly Hour is produced in the Dipsy Doodle Studios by Big D Entertainment.
Thanks for listening.